Bring us in.
Let's do this thing. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bermuda. As we get lost in the wonderful city of Ybor, I'm Max Herman, one of your hosts. My co-host, of course, Taylor Durden in the house.
Howdy.
How you doing today, Taylor?
Good, man. I'm glad to be back.
Glad to be back, too, man.
Our listeners won't know this, but I had to take 2 weeks off for traveling and all sorts of stuff. So I'm happy to be back behind the mic.
What a shame you had to go to the mountains and, do nothing for a while.
And then, of course, I had to see Project Pat. So,
a little bit of everything in that vacation. Before we begin, I want to thank our sponsor. We are sponsored again tonight by Culture Control. Culture Control, the barbershop that is just up on Florida Avenue by Hillsborough. It's a barbershop / vintage clothing store, and they have a big event coming up at the Fairground Flea Market, once again, December 6th. Go there. If you haven't been before, you're missing out. It's an amazing event. And go see Culture Control because they have amazing clothes inside their vintage market. Plus, you can get a nice haircut while you're waiting.
Yeah, it's a cool shop. I really like that place.
Yeah, I'm glad I could show it to you and introduce some other people to it, I hope, as well. But yeah, we're back again, and we've had some fun. We've interviewed some people, and we talked a little bit about some of the rare characters that have come and gone on the weird side of Ybor City. And we were actually discussing something that we had to talk about on this podcast.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Well, on the Ghost Tour, one of our more notorious spots is, of course, where the former Ybor Resort and Spa used to stand. It's right there, on 8th Avenue between 15th and 16th, just off of Centro. It's a big empty lot right now, but the Ybor Resort and Spa was notoriously haunted for many, many years. Now, a lot of people ask me, okay, so what was this big building? It's been a couple of things. First, it was actually a coffee shop, which a lot of people don't know that. It was one of the original coffee shops in Ybor City.
That I did not know.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, of course, coffee is like a staple of our society now,
sure.
But you can imagine the long line of Cubans just up the street from Mr. Ybor's factory waiting to get coffee in their system before they rolled cigars.
Of course.
But later, it became something much more important than any coffee shop could be. It was one of the very first surgery centers of Ybor City, and it housed one of the most notorious names in Tampa and Ybor history, a man that was nicknamed the Stiff Hand Man because he was so good with his stitches, you'd walk out of his place with minimal scarring. His name was Jorge Trelles.
Man.
Well, yes.
And they say you walked away with minimal scarring. That's if you were able to walk away. Apparently,
it's about 50-50.
Yeah, well, I actually read somewhere they said it was an 80-20 percentage.
That sounds about right. You're more likely to go out the back door.
Yeah, and they said you can figure out for yourself which side was the 80 and which side was the 20.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes considering the times, this man was like really well at his. He had a lot of skill.
Yeah.
Honestly, he came from Cuba, and when he came to Ybor City, he brought his family along with him. But when he came to Ybor City, he didn't just bring his skills with him. He also brought his vice, which was young women. More specifically, young girls.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to get too deep into Epstein files or anything like that,
Right.
But Jorge Trelles is actually credited being the very first divorce in Tampa history, Ybor City specifically.
And I believe the second.
Yes, actually. And don't get too ahead of yourself. Yeah. Let's get into the story first.
He was definitely well known.
Oh, the man had a reputation.
Yeah.
But Jorge Trelles, he came here with his family, and he met a beautiful young lady named Conchita, who was, I believe, 12 years old at the time.
Yeah, I read somewhere anywhere between 12 and 14.
Yeah,
depending
like
what
that.
Article you read.
Obviously underage, but
yes,
these were different
very
times.
Much so.
He fell in love with this girl. The two of them fell in love. A year later, she dropped out of school and married the doctor as he divorced his wife. Now, she was a young girl. She didn't know much skill, and she had dropped out of school, so he decided to give her a simple job as the receptionist at his surgery center, checking in the patients as they come and go. But as she got more mature over the years, Jorge decided to teach her some new skills like anesthesia. She became the anesthesiologist of the surgery center, and then one night Jorge Trelles, this skilled man had a brilliant idea. He said, I'm so skilled with my surgeries that people actually call me the Stiff Hand Man, but I bet I can make even more money if people pay to watch me cut people open. Which I know some of you out there might think that's a little odd. But you got to remember, this is between public executions in Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, public surgeries were big at the time.
Absolutely.
I mean, you had the big arenas.
Yeah, I guess like an auditorium kind of thing. You'd sit up high. And we all know the Seinfeld episode when they dropped the Junior Mint. But this was actually a hot ticket. And not only because Jorge Trelles was so good with his skills. Now remember, like I said, Conchita was a good-looking girl. And at this time, she had developed a little bit. She was getting a little older. And she had a good idea of her own. She thought, yeah, we can pay. People can pay to see us cut people open, but what if I also just unbutton my top button real quick and
had a little bit of slit coming up her side?
Exactly. Maybe even like as people are waiting to get in, I wave out the window while I push my breasts over the window there. They became like a celebrity couple. People were literally coming to see them from all around. They sold out every single surgery they offered. But no matter how much success you have, people tend to change over the years, and Conchita got a little older. Unfortunately, Jorge's vices didn't change. He met another young lady who was in her teens.
She was, I believe, 15.
Yes. No, very different time, obviously. We told you we were going to talk about weird stuff in Ybor City, right? Anyway, yes, he divorces Conchita, the second divorce, naturally. Conchita went on to be, I believe, a seamstress or something?
A lot of people thought that she went in seclusion. She didn't.
Right.
She just moved to Davis
Well,
Island.
yeah, she did kind of go in seclusion, quote
but
unquote.
she left Ybor, went to Davis Island, and she actually, at one point in time, opened a dress shop.
Right,
And
yeah.
apparently she was well known, obviously, as being this beautiful figure throughout Ybor.
In fact, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah.
Sky Puppy Brewing, the great brewery that's just over here by Mr. Ebor's old factory, they have a beer called the Shady Lady, named after her.
I like it. Yeah,
yes,
hell yeah.
because they took on one of my ghost stories and they fell in love with this story.
Yeah, I mean, she was well known as being impeccably dressed everywhere she
Right.
went. Didn't matter when it was, for what occasion, just walking down the street, impeccably dressed. So she took that with her and opened up apparently this beautiful dress shop.
Yeah,
that
think of it like
lasts for a while.
think of it like a Selena Gomez, Kardashian kind of thing. Like we know how beautiful these people are, and they know they look good. Well, what if they sold clothes? What if
Right.
they sold makeup like they do
Right.
today? But back then it was Conchita, who was known all around the town as one of the most beautiful and classy women that was around.
Yeah.
Not to mention she was hot as shit.
Right.
That probably helped. I want to look like that girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, she's obviously wearing the stuff she's selling.
Yes, exactly.
She was known. She always had these beautiful turbans or hair wraps,
yeah.
And so, she was like the talk of the town.
Oh, absolutely. Also well known to have beautiful long hair, which was very sexy at the time. Anyway, time does catch up with people. And I guess a little bit of revenge comes because karma does hit. Eventually, Jorge Trelles gets very old. He loses his legs to diabetes, and he's left with nobody except good old Conchita.
She took him back.
She takes him back. She nursed him, and she was with him all the way till his last few days. But at the same time, Jorge Trelles and Conchita, well, they're legends. Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, one of the most famous names in Ybor history. For those that don't know who Ferdy Pacheco is, if you walk down 7th Avenue, there's a bunch of tobacco leaves with his quotes all over the floor in 7th Avenue. Anyway, Ferdy Pacheco wrote that when he saw Conchita for the first time, he suddenly didn't care much about baseball anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting story because, poor Conchita, she was so heartbroken, so destroyed over this because that was her whole growing up, essentially.
Right.
That's all she knew was Dr. Trelles. And so, when he left her for a new model,
Right.
Exactly. That, she was destroyed.
Well, let's say it out loud. He groomed her.
Yeah, 100%.
And then,
yeah.
and then left her for nothing.
Yeah, to groom another one.
Exactly.
And she ended up, funny enough, when she moved to Davis Island, she met this wonderful Cuban man, apparently, became engaged.
I love it.
And was going to restart her life.
Happy ending.
He took a brief trip to Havana. It was supposed to be just a brief trip. And they say that he died of a heart attack there.
Holy shit.
And so here she is now. She was still here. He was like, I'm just going to be gone for the weekend. I'll be back. And
you never know, the shady lady.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she loses, that, husband number 2 effectively.
Wow.
And so, she takes Trelles back in. At the time, he had only lost the one leg.
Yeah.
But he was getting old and diabetic. And
he wasn't the handsome surgeon that
Not
back
at all.
then must have been quite a catch.
Yeah. I mean, when you see pictures of him, he was a good looking dude.
Right. Very good looking dude. And from what I've read, other than the fact that he was, kind of a player, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's a piece of shit.
Yeah, for lack of a better term.
Let's just say it.
Yeah, you know what? Player's not the right term. Let's call him what he is.
Yeah.
But, other than that, people said that he was a brilliant man.
Yeah.
Very smart. Very smart. Not all brilliant men are the same. What can I say?
Yeah, and I found a lot of some old posts on Facebook where some Tampa history page or odd history page talked about him. And a lot of the comments were people that were natives here to the area that were related to Conchita.
Oh, that's cool.
And she was my great aunt or great grandmother or whatnot. And they have stories of being little children talking to Mr. Trelles and saying how wonderful he was and how charismatic. And
I said, they were like a celebrity couple.
Yeah,
I mean, she was gorgeous. He was smart and handsome. It was like the
and
Clark
rich.
Gable at the time. Yeah, rich as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, and not only that, quite a showman from what I'm told. Literally, he would cut people open and be like, "Everybody, this is the spleen," and everybody starts clapping. Yay, the spleen! It's what can I say? It's an interesting story and another wild character.
Yeah, well, when he first started his practice in that building, it was just the upstairs portion. you know? And so he had just the upstairs with the windows that overlooked the street, you know, Conchita would go up through. And then later, I guess their practice, they made so much money and they needed to expand. So he ended up buying the whole building.
And it was a big building.
It was a huge building. And downstairs was all like imaging and intake and recovery. And
the best technology in medicine.
Man, it was a full cradle to grave service for what, $1 a week?
$1 a week. And I want to remind you guys that a lot of these rollers were getting paid per cigar rolled. If you were really good at it, you could make almost $1 a day.
Yeah.
And they were paying $1 a week for the best healthcare in the world.
Yeah, 100%. Well, for 20% of the people.
Yeah, exactly. If you were lucky.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, they were extremely prolific.
Right. And I think that later they did turn it into a resort where it was the Trelles Resort or something where you could like stay there.
Yeah.
And then of course it became the Ybor Resort and Spa, which I never went into because, you know, cards on the table, it was a homosexual resort and spa.
They had a 50-man hot tub in there.
Good Lord.
A 50-man hot tub.
I just feel bad for the janitorial staff.
Right. You imagine the ringworm in a 50-person hot tub.
Not for me, but I do appreciate a good dirty joke. I remember on the front door it used to say, "Please enter in the rear," which I think is hilarious. That's really good.
And it was such a cool building too because it had the really cool what was like the big glass cube windows downstairs.
It had like green lights that like illuminated those windows.
It was a really, really neat building. It's a shame that we lost it.
Yeah, what can I say? Well, actually, I think we talked about what happened to it on another episode, but we have a lot of people that remember these buildings and stuff like that. In fact, we've gotten some emails from some of you guys, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? Why don't we spend this episode? Anything else you want to talk about? If not, then we can get into emails.
No, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I got one right here.
I got one too. You go first if you don't mind.
Sure, no problem. So this one, she didn't ask to be anonymous, so I'm going to say her name.
Love that.
Yeah, her name is Angel Weller.
Okay, shout out to Angel Weller. Thanks for writing.
She says, and this was a few days ago, and I looked it up, and she actually sent a link to a St. Pete Times article to corroborate.
Oh, I love that. She has a source, paper trail.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so she says, exactly 35 years ago today.
Wow.
I was headed to the Masquerade for a concert for my 19th birthday. The Flock of Seagulls was playing.
Damn, so that's a big one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I bet they all had the hair down like this.
Of course. And, that's what, 35 years ago, 1990.
Oh, they were huge.
Yeah. And so this was when the Masquerade was in the Empire Zydeco building and functioning as a regular Gothic industrial dark wave club. And so, that's where Masquerade originally started.
Okay.
Was in that building.
Where Zydeco was, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's what, 7th and I want to say 19th? Something like that.
Yeah. Somewhere around there, maybe 18th.
Right.
But 7th or I forget.
One of those. I think it's 19th.
Yeah. And so Empire was such a cool club.
Yeah.
And Masquerade was only in there for like 2 years.
I had no idea.
They were only there for like 2 years. They got shut down in 1989, I think I found.
Yeah. Obviously a little before my time.
Yeah. Or maybe they got shut down in 1990. I think it was 1990 for drug issues. Probably this issue out of the story. And then they moved into the next year. They moved into the Ritz Theater.
Which I do remember them at the Ritz.
Yeah, and the Ritz had been operating at that point as a XXX.
Yeah. It was a nudie place
for a long time.
I never went in because I was a kid, but I remember seeing all the XXX. I'm like,
Yeah.
When you're a little kid, you get curious about that.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And in fact, when Masquerade moved into that building, their grand opening show, the first person they had playing was 9 Inch Nails.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you imagine 1991-ish or so?
That's when they were huge.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, that must have been amazing.
Okay, so she goes on to say, Ybor was pretty dead back then. There's a few Cuban cafes, a couple gay punk bars, but most of the retail spaces were closed at night or completely vacant. Anyway, I'm in line with my friends to get in the door. My boyfriend at the time looked up and saw some sketchy lights, like black lights, in the second floor window.
Right.
They made a joke about them probably cooking drugs in there or something. Not 15 minutes later, the riot squad rolled up.
Because they were probably cooking drugs up there.
Full SWAT.
Damn.
Armor.
Oh, they were expecting a gunfight.
Yeah. They came up barking. She says they came up barking at all the goths outside.
Oh, God.
Just screaming at everybody. All the punks, all the alt kids, everyone who were packed in line. They stormed the place. They started dragging everybody out in handcuffs.
Wow.
And they were just standing there on the sidewalk wondering what the fuck is going on during all this. Turns out they got nailed for drugs.
Yeah.
LSD specifically.
Oh, that
and
makes
selling
sense.
booze to underage folks.
Well, that was everybody.
As she puts in aside as guilty.
Yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't name a place in Ybor that wasn't selling booze.
Right. They were just happy to have feet in the door, And as we had driven from St. Pete, we hung out for a few minutes trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
A little bit later, this U-Haul comes rolling up with some very confused British dudes inside of it.
That's awesome.
The band had arrived.
I love that.
And we had to give them the bad news that there is unlikely to be a show that night, and there wasn't.
Sorry. That's hilarious. They rolled up and was like, uh-oh.
Right. You're like,
bloody hell.
Wait a second, aren't you? They had to head back to St. Pete, and they ended up at a place called Channel Zero, and a birthday that she won't soon forget.
I bet. Damn, that's pretty amazing. I love that there's an article.
Yeah, she totally.
And
unfortunately, it was hidden by a paywall. I'm not paying them to read their newspaper.
I'm sure it's a very good article.
But yeah, it's the title says raid leaves one alternative. So. That place closed down.
Yes, I could imagine it would. Well, if you're making LSD in the attic, that's not really the best look for your business. Well, for those of you that are thinking of starting a business, don't make LSD in your attic.
No, please don't.
That's just not a good idea.
Please don't. Yeah. So Empire, though, was such a cool club.
Yeah.
I don't know. It probably was a little bit before your time because it was right about my time, but I still hadn't gone yet.
I remember it, but I never went in.
Yeah. So when in the 90s, Empire, when I was in high school, if you had an Empire sticker on your car, you were like the cool alt kid. Yeah, they knew that like, oh, you're sneaking into the cool club because it was all gothic, it was all punk, it was all kinds of. They had amazing shows there, and I found out this guy named Ken Grossman. He became the general manager of the place when it was a goth club, and he ran it. Yeah, and he saw the writing on the wall that the goth movement was kind of petering out a little bit. And the castle was rocking. And the castle, of course, started taking all the clientele. Being open in 92, the castle was going, and it became this huge feature. Less people were going to Empire. So he transitioned the club into a booty club, as they call it.
I do kind of remember Club Empire being like a hip-hop club.
Well, that came later. Yeah. So it was booty. Like, they specifically call it booty.
Well.
And then from there, it turned into a techno rave club.
Okay.
And it held on for a while as that. Mm-hmm. And then I want to say it was, 2002-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2002, they turned into it was like a hip-hop mega club.
Yeah, because that was about the age when I started getting into hip-hop and all that stuff like that. And I remember Wild 98.7, if you remember. Come to Club Empire, we're going to have Touch Dut's going to be here.
I mean, Dennis Rodman held a Super Bowl party there. Busta Rhymes performed there.
That's cool.
KRS-One performed there.
KRS-One, damn.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes, though, to me, that's huge.
Yeah, that's a big name to have, especially in the
in
the
those
early
times,
2000s.
Yeah, he was the freaking man.
Yeah, and so, unfortunately, though, a string of violence ended up shutting the place down.
Always got to have one person that ruins the fun.
Yeah, I think it was like October 2011.
Oh wow, that recent.
Yeah, a guy was killed in the VIP area.
Wow.
He was shot in the head.
Gosh.
And they ended up closing a month later. One of the first things that happened there that was really bad was a bouncer. His name was Philip Harris. He worked there.
Okay.
He was shot and killed just for asking a patron to hey man, you can't wear your hat in here. Can you please take off your hat?
Damn.
And the guy just shot and killed him right there on the spot.
God damn.
Yeah, man.
All right, listen, for those of you out there, if you have a cousin or an uncle or somebody that you shouldn't be bringing to the club, don't bring him to the club.
Right.
If you have that uncle that's a little too touchy, if you have that cousin that's always got to bring the strap, leave them home. Make an excuse.
Yeah, man,
something.
have a good night.
Nobody wants that.
That poor dude, that Philip Harris guy. I can't imagine. That's a whole family loss just because he's like, man, I'm just trying to do my damn job for probably $50 for a shift at the time.
Probably just got paid in cash and go home kind of thing. God,
man,
that's a shame.
And so Empire sat vacant for a long time, and that was after years really of other businesses around the area saying, hey man, look, there's so much violence here. They're reaching out to the city. At one point, TPD showed up, and I read somewhere it was about a dozen or so cops, full dress, just walked into the club and just stood around.
Not a bad idea, I guess.
And a lot of people took it as like an obvious show of force. They're like, no, we're just patrolling, making sure everyone's safe in here, and just. After that, numbers started to dwindle and all that, and then with the guy being killed in VIP, they're like, let's wrap it up. And the whole time, this guy Ken was the general manager of the place.
Really?
And he even, they interviewed him a lot.
I bet
during that time. And he's like, look, Like he's like, I'm not telling these people to bring this shit in.
You
He's
know,
like, I'm
all
just trying to do
doing
my
is
job.
My DJ hits play,
Yep.
and he puts together a mix that they want to hear. If the bad people come, they come.
Yeah,
You know, what
and
can
I
you
guess
do?
that guy had a huge history of like running nightclubs successfully and all that stuff, but he was unfairly targeted during a lot of it, like as if it was his fault. And he's like, look, I'm trying to run a clean club, and, you know, and I can't help that people are just being assholes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a shame. But
wild
like I
time.
said, there's always somebody that ruins the fun. That's a shame. But all right, let me read mine.
Yeah.
Mine actually, he did want to remain anonymous. He put his name as JR. Hold on, let me pull it up here. All right, so JR.
Who do I know with those initials?
Well, you actually might know him. Oh, another thing, he no longer lives in Ybor. He has moved to California. Let's just put that out there. So JR, this is what he writes. Okay, and by the way, he wrote it in like text form, so it's a little messy. But basically, he said a couple years back, he goes, a couple years back on a Halloween night, I was never one to dress up, but, you know, I like to hang out in Ybor, have a couple drinks, get a meal. I headed over to Boneyard on Halloween night just to see the You remember Boneyard?
Oh, I do. That's where I met my wife.
Man. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that. Yeah.
I got a paver out front and everything for her.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, honestly, best wings around for a long time.
Yeah.
I went to Boneyard, got a bite, and I enjoyed seeing all the crazy costumes and the wildness around me. Guess who happened to walk into Boneyard at the time? The man that owned the castle at the time, Alan Kahana, which he still owns the castle. Yeah. Alan, I said hello to him, told him I've heard of the castle, told him I've never been, and being who he is, he invited me into the castle with him.
Yeah, 100%. That's an Alan move.
Which I've been to the castle many times, and I've met Alan several times, but that's got to be pretty cool to be like, I'm with the owner tonight,
Yeah.
You know?
I love hanging out with Alan.
He does continue. He says, literally, we walked by the entire line of people, and everybody looked at me like, who the hell is this guy? I wasn't in costume, and let's just say I'm not tall. I don't look like the most handsome guy in the bunch, so they wondered, why is this guy walking in with the owner? I go in there, I'm sitting there, we're taking some drinks, and we're having a good time. I happen to see a girl dressed like Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I, of course, was immediately in love with this girl because that's my childhood crush when I was a little kid. I went up to her and started talking to her because I had liquid courage in my system. Now, remember, I'm not a tall person, but I did have some courage in me, and I decided to give it a shot. She immediately picked me up, put my face in between her breasts, and called me Roger the whole night. I couldn't help but keep going, please, as I kissed her. We went home that night. I bounced on her bed like a rabbit, and then we did the deed. I'll never forget this evening in Ybor City, and it would only happen in this place. This is a one-of-a-kind kind of place. You know? Isn't that a great one?
Well, you know, as you're reading it, I'm thinking back to all the Halloweens that I've spent at the castle, which is many. And at one point, I was dating this girl for a while. And I found out the reason why we're not together. I found out she's a little bit of a loosey-goosey. I brought her to the castle once and she was dressed as Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, let's see where this goes.
Well, he did mention another man was there. No, I'm just kidding. That's funny.
Yeah, but she did go home with me that night.
Okay,
so,
yeah. It
I
wasn't
was
that
like,
night.
yeah. But I would have been par for the course if I was like, you know what?
You know what?
That makes sense.
What were you dressed as? I got to ask.
Oh, God, what would I have been dressed as? Oh, man, I've gone through so many costumes. I always made my own.
Yeah, I love that you made your own. That's cool, man. I have a buddy. He makes his own costumes, too, and he spends from early September until Halloween night, he's working on these things. And he used to be my roommate. I used to watch him work on these things.
Yeah, I've made so many costumes. That year, I might have been... Do you remember, because this was early 2000s, do you remember Domukin?
Yeah.
Where it got really popular?
Yeah.
Me and a buddy of mine made matching Domukin.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's unique.
Out
I like that.
Out of PVC pipe.
That's funny.
So we have the big cube.
Yeah.
Wrapped it in brown monster fur with the arms.
For those that don't know, explain what
Domukin. Even I don't really know how to explain it so much. It was a weird figure that kind of like anime-esque little caricature, but he basically looked like a brownie with an angry face. You know, and he was all over.
People would put him in their cars.
Yeah,
stuff like
man,
that.
he was all over everything, like stationery at Target. You get shirts and anything. It was just like it's kinda like a Hello Kitty
or like a Labubu today.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, because you would get keychains of them and all that stuff. I mean, I made so many costumes to go to the castle. Oh man! One year, my wife and I, it was the best Halloween I think we've ever done.
Let's hear it.
And she's already a riot.
Yeah.
And I put her in a costume with I made the costume for her, and I did her full face makeup. You couldn't tell who she was.
Love it.
She completely immersed herself into this character and you could not break her out of character. She was Skeletor and I was Beastman.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And I used remember the morph suits?
Yeah.
And so I bought morph suits. I bought her a blue one,
Yeah.
and mine was an orange one.
Nice.
And then I made foam, like
Yeah.
the leather skirt that Skeletor wears, and the little chest piece, and a hood and all that. And we ran around Ybor singing the Skeletor Beastman song from CKY or Narkill or whatever. Beastman.
Right. That you just awoke something in my memory that I totally forgot about.
She knows every single word to
That's
it.
awesome.
And so I kept walking around the whole night going, That's great. And I dyed. I grew my beard out real big. I dyed it red. I painted my head, and it was hilarious.
I love that you go all in.
Oh yeah,
that's
all
pretty
in.
Cool, man.
All in, man. And we've done everything from like Resident Evil to He-Man, Beastman.
Right.
I was years ago. I made a Yip Yip costume from Sesame Street.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I still have that one. I still use it.
Yeah, why not?
It's funny, man. I love making that.
Can
stuff.
I tell you? So I used to do costumes too. I was never that much like deep in like going crazy like the way that you guys do, which I respect completely. But I want to tell you something very interesting. I have been a Halloween costume. I start my history tours right there at Mr. Ybor statue in front of Jimmy John's, right? And I talk to the Jimmy John's people all the time. They're nice people. They're usually just some people that are trying to get by, that kind of thing. A guy pops out. He's got my hat on. He's got the guayabera on. He's got the pants on. And he goes, "Hey, everybody, welcome to Jimmy John's. I'll be your sandwich host this afternoon." And I go, "Get the fuck out of here." He goes, "I'm Max for Halloween this year."
That is amazing.
I was like, now I know I've made it in this town.
Yeah, man.
If you're a costume, doesn't get any bigger than that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I did a costume. This chick I knew years ago. We used to be really good friends. She burned me on some business stuff, so now we don't talk. But she was very, very recognizable.
Really?
In her style, her tattoos, her hair, and all that stuff. And I had to work. Actually, I had moved back to Texas. I think it was about 2014. And I was fun employed for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Hey, do you have any shifts I can pick up at the castle? I'm back." And they're like, "Yeah, love to. But Halloween night, we need you to work security."
Yeah.
And Halloween night, as you know, at castle.
It's wild.
Yeah. But so at security, it's insane.
I bet.
And I was like, "Can I dress up?" And like, "Yeah, absolutely." Perfect, thank you. So I went as her.
I love that.
I had a friend of mine who's a hairdresser because I'm bald.
Yeah.
Completely like, squeaky clean usually.
Yeah.
And we glued tracks to my head.
That's fucking awesome.
Glued dreads, did the hair. Oh. I painted on the tattoos, the chest tattoos that she had. The hand, she had all these stupid stars all over her face.
That's great,
I painted them all on. And I acted like an absolute bitch the whole night as my character.
I thought you were in character too. I love it.
As security.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah. Give me your fucking ID.
Right. all night. I wouldn't leave character.
Love it. That's
was
great.
So much fun.
God, man, Halloween's the best. And of course, being in the spooky business, I love it myself. In fact, I would love to hear more Halloween stories from our listeners.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween just passed when this airs, but
right.
But I mean, I got to tell you, I know that I've had crazy experiences. We all remember Guavaween. Guavaween was one of those first things, and I probably mentioned it on other episodes. I used to sneak out for Guavaween.
Oh, yeah.
Because I never knew what I was going to see out there.
Yeah.
And even though I was underage, of course, they're like, "Here, kid, have a beer."
Yeah,
right.
Oh,
yeah, sure, buddy. And, pretending to enjoy it.
Yeah,
But really, I was just there to see if I could see anybody get too much fun in them.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean?
Absolutely. One year I went to Guavaween, and I made this costume, and it ended up on Reddit was still fairly new.
Oh, wow.
And when it had like a front page or whatnot, and
buddy.
I made it on the front page of Reddit. I started getting these screenshots. So I took red and blue bed sheets.
Yeah.
And painted like the sacrament heart or whatever on it. So like the famous Jesus, where he's like red robe with the blue sash.
Right.
But I had a realistic raptor latex mask. So I was Raptor Jesus.
Pretty good. Raptor Jesus.
Yeah.
Back from extinction.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah.
Went extinct for our sins.
I love that.
And I went around anointing people. And I had
good,
friends from Chicago and he was a punk rock Jesus.
Nice.
And then we ended up with like a white people realistic Jesus.
Right.
And,
you gotta have your realistic.
Yeah, and
Jesus
we just we didn't know this dude. We just
oh
had
really?
Yeah, we just partied with. He's like Jesus. You know.
That's fucking. That's the best part is the camaraderie at a Halloween because everybody loves seeing something, whatever your decorations are or something in your house too. I freaking love that.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite holidays.
We always decorate the house for Halloween.
Right, yeah.
The cool light bulbs outside and all that kind of stuff. I love cutting pumpkins. Man, I can't wait for spooky season.
Yeah,
it's right around the corner
for us. Yeah, this will air after spooky season.
Right.
But as the holidays roll around, man, I got to tell you, this podcast has been so much fun to be doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I want to hear more stories, not just Halloween. Tell me all your stories, people, because I've been going around town and people are embracing this podcast. They're going, hey man, I heard your podcast, really funny. I got a story for you. I'm like, well, you can either tell it to me or you can write it to me, and I'll read it.
Yeah,
you know
send
what I mean?
It'd be great because then, man, I'd love to be able to expound upon all this stuff.
Exactly.
So
I was, and I don't want to misquote people. So people tell me their stories. I could tell them here. I'm not going to do that. I'd much rather hear your words from you, how you want it told, so you know how to reach us. Tell them how to reach us, Taylor.
Yeah, so if you go to ebormutapodcast.com and you scroll down to the bottom, there's a contact form. You put your name, email address, write the story. You can I even put a button in there now. You can upload pictures if you want.
Oh, that's cool.
If you have a photo that you want to upload. And the only thing you have to put in is an email address.
Okay.
And if you really want to trade, you could tell me, hey, don't read my name. That's cool. If you really don't want me to know that it's you, you can use our email address in there, which is just ebormutapodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, feel free to put that in.
Yeah, it's the simplest thing. You can do that. I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, who's...
I'm a little worried about the pictures because I know you people.
Yeah,
you're going to send me pictures of
That's
the Bible.
why I'm excited.
We're going to get pictures of cows having sex or something.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Here's just a picture for you. It's not... Look, keep it Ebor-centric and also keep your stories realistic, people. We don't want to hear about how you you saved Superman or something, and tell us the real stories.
I've read a few now where I could definitely tell like, all right, this didn't happen. Like, and then I did this, and then I did this,
and then I beat up 2 cops and I stole their car. Like, no, that didn't happen, dude. You would be a legend, if that happened.
Right.
Like, I would believe it more if the cops beat the shit out of you, and then you're like, I woke up in their car. Okay, now we're talking.
But yeah, just head down over to ebormutapodcast.com. If you want, you can scroll down. There's a little bio of Max and I. There's also an audio player that you can listen to the last, I believe, 3 to 5 uploaded episodes.
Yeah.
You can listen to them right from there.
Yeah.
And also on the website, up in the top or at the very bottom, there's a button you can click, and it shows you all the places you can listen to us.
Love it.
And it directly connects you to it.
And it's everywhere you can get a podcast.
Yeah,
right?
If you want to go to Spotify, there's a Spotify button. Apple, all of it. There's and even all the RSS feed apps.
Okay.
If you're like a dedicated podcast listener, you don't use like a streaming service. There are podcast apps.
Okay, cool.
And so everything's there. Yeah. You can find us on anywhere you find your podcast.
Yeah. And if you don't feel like surfing the web, we got an Instagram, which is eBormuda, right?
Yep, eBormuda Podcast, all one word.
And there's a link to our website on there too.
Yeah, everything's all linked together. In fact, even on the Instagram, there's like a link tree if you really want to go ham. I try to cover all bases.
Well, shit, anything else we need to cover tonight?
No, man, I think this is good. It's like I said, it's nice to get back on the mic, a little easy. We don't have to stress about, a guest right now.
Yeah, we got some guests lined up, so don't worry. We got some big names coming in too, and they've all agreed, so we have them on the calendar.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I got some cool ones up my sleeve that I just got to schedule in. So
yeah, I'm sure if you are listening to this podcast, this episode, you've probably already seen some of the guests we've had. The people are lining up, man, and they're happy to be a part of it. We got some good ones coming up for you.
Yeah, so look out for Joe Biden. He's probably going to... But we got a lot of great stuff planned for coming up to the end of the year and into the next. So thank you, everyone, so much.
We only got Joe Biden because Obama said no.
Well, thanks, Obama.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.
Have a great night.